some Italian gangster. You're not a gangster. You are the very people of God, trying to look like some criminal from Italy, some mafioso, some Italiano. Boy, look like fools on TV.
Who's that, Biggie? Oh, that's just fake. She's always checking up on him. It's a lying piece.
Peace, family. We are back again. And today we'll be building on the Mafioso 90s era of hip-hop, right? Specifically out of New York, right? And we got to speak on how Khalid Muhammad, the late, great Khalid Muhammad, and the late, great Tupac Shakur would bang on this era of New York hip-hop, right? Many people know that about the East Coast, West Coast beef. They know about that, but many people didn't realize that a lot of what Tupac was doing was theatrical in the sense of it's what we would today call trolling. Today we would call it trolling, right? So let's start there. You got your seatbelt on? It's gonna be a long little ride today, right? So get your seatbelt on, go get you some popcorn, you know what I'm saying? And let's do this. Let's talk hip hop, right? This is what we do here. Now, Tupac gets shot in '94, right? That set off the East Coast, West Coast rap beef to the mainstream. To those that know, you know, it happened really when Suge got into it with Diddy at Jermaine Dupri party, and Suge man got murked out, right? Now, Tupac gets shot and he's locked up, he's sitting in prison. And while he's sitting in prison, $1 million bail, right? $1 million bail, Tupac don't got no bread. Tupac was famous, but he didn't have a lot of money. Many say Tupac was living out of hotels and, you know what I'm saying, spending money. He was just an artist. Some people are just straight artists, right? They didn't have the business side. Tupac didn't really learn the business side. By the time he started learning the business side, it was a little too late. You know what I mean? And so he was taken advantage of for a long time. This is why Kendrick Lamar did the To Pimp a Butterfly, right? It was originally the acronym of Tupac, right? It was To Pimp a Caterpillar, right? But it's switched up, and that's why you see Tupac on the outro of Mortal Man, right? Now, when Tupac is locked up, this is when everybody begins to flip on Tupac, right? So this is also playing into Tupac fits into that Mortal Man concept from there, right? When the back against the wall, everybody turned against him, right? So with that being said, we know that Tupac helped Big out, and then the beef starts. We're not gonna dive deep into that element, but we're gonna deal with why Tupac was screaming so West Side, nigga, West Side, West Side, because you gotta remember, prior to Tupac getting out of prison, you never really heard Pac scream West Side, West Side, West Side. Yes, he did rep Oakland. He repped Oakland in interviews, but he don't have a lot of music where he just repping Oakland and Marin City and all that. You know what I mean? But when he got out, that's when you started seeing him throwing up the W, right? In the West Side, and to live and die in LA, and everything was West Side. You know what I mean? Where did that come from? Because it wasn't there prior to Tupac going to prison. Now, when Tupac is in prison, right? Because you got to always remember, Tupac seen himself as the bridge between the East Coast and the West Coast. Tupac is born in New York, and he got ties on the West Coast due to Black Panthers. The Black Panther Party also had an East Coast, West Coast beef. That's another story for another time, right? But the fraction between the East Coast and the West Coast of the Panthers were beefing. Now, Tupac's family origin-wise, they from the South, but they were based out of New York, right? Afeni runs into a bad drug habit. She sends Tupac to Baltimore, and then later on to California. All these spots that Tupac lived is spots where the Panthers was located at, right? Tupac and the Feeney family had the Panthers was like family. So one kid, it takes a village type of mentality, right? So Tupac, that's how Tupac ends up in California, right, on his own. The mom is on drugs till she get cleaned up. He's out there. He locked in with political prisoners, right? Geronimo Pratt and all them, right? This Tupac's godfather. Tupac's whole family is full of political prisoners. For those that didn't know, so Tupac is in California, right? And that's Tupac's ties to Cali since a teenager. Yet you really never heard Tupac repping Cali as far as he was in 95 and 96. So what we're trying to deal with is where does that come from, right? Many people know about it, but many people don't know where it comes from. Even though in Tupac's last interview, he briefly touched on it, right? Now, while Tupac is in prison, let's deal with that. Now, Tupac puts Big on before Big gets with before Big gets with Puff and all that blows up. He helps Big out. He helps put Big on. Lets Big go open the shows for him. Introduce Big to people in the industry. You know what I mean? All this stuff. Pac is being that bridge between the East Coast niggas and the West Coast niggas. The West Coast niggas and the East Coast niggas. This is why Tupac said in one of his last interviews, I put guns in the East Coast niggas' hands and West Coast niggas' hands that came out between both coasts. If a rapper came from New York to LA, Tupac had him. And Tupac had him when they was in New York. He tried, because many people don't understand that Tupac was locked in with Stretch in the Live Squad. Stretch and Live Squad locked in with E Money Bag. That's why you see Tupac with pictures with E Money Bags, gangster from Queens, right? Remember when Nas damn, what's the word? When Just died, I just got out of his ride. Queensbridge, me up, dog. He was talking about he just got out the car with, you know what I mean, around that time. So this is how you get the connection. Even in Prodigy's autobiography, he touched on getting Tupac's rap book from E Money Bag's brother's house, I believe, right? After E Money Bags died. And he read Tupac's notepad and his plans for black people and all this, and this is where he earned more respect for Tupac, right? But that's the Queens connection that Tupac had, right? So Tupac still feel like he got connections to East Coast and West Coast niggas. That's why when you see that 50 niggas on Tupac's stomach, I believe it's 50 niggas united, 50 states united. Right, so Tupac wanted to do the whole thing of one nation. That's before he died. He had the East Coast, West Coast, down South niggas because that's how the Panthers moved, right? Because Tupac also got ties to the South. His family was heavy in Georgia. Tupac spent a lot of his life in Georgia. You see what I'm saying? The Tupac family was located in Georgia. When Tupac got killed, they had to come from Georgia to Las Vegas, right? So this is the connection, and this is moving like this. Is how Panthers was. Right, they had locations, different places, but the brothers in Chicago were supposed to be like this. Brothers in West Coast, and that's how Tupac was trying to move to one nation. Now Tupac's issue is, remember, this is a militant brother. Even though he's ignorant, got his ways, he's a militant brother at his foundation. It's the same way that a Christian person would say, I introduced my kid to Christianity at a young age. Right? That way, when they do get off the path, if they get off the path, they always go back to foundation. Right? They always gonna go back to the foundation. That's why, that's the whole point. You introduce the kid to that, right? And then they always gonna come back to it. You feel me? So that's the game. So as Pac gets introduced to the revolution since a kid, no matter how much he gonna stray off the path because this is America. Wild niggas gonna be wild niggas when you living in the projects and all that. Yaki Gaddafi, kids of Black Panthers. You know what I mean? But got off the path. But was getting off the path. But when it's on your foundation, you always gonna go back to the foundation. It's like the default. That's why you install this stuff in your kids early. If they ever get off the path, they'll come back. You know what I mean? They always come back. So, plant seeds inside the babies. You gotta plant seeds inside the babies. So, they rooted with never being stupid. You know what I'm saying? I said something like that in my bars. But anyway, the point I'm making is this is how Tupac is still thinking, militant. when he's in the rap game. I remember Corrupt talking about one day, hey yo, Tupac was trying to break it down how the outlaws should only speak this way. This is the militant, and this is Snoop and them should have it like this, and Corrupt shouldn't be speaking to me. You see what I'm saying? Like organized, and that's gonna lead us into the organized crime element that we're gonna get to in a second. But yes, so Tupac is all of a sudden screaming this West Coast, West Coast, because when he's locked up, he's seeing Big. Once Big get in the game, Big is dirtying up the unity side of it. Right now, you always have brothers like DJ Quick and Tim Dog going at it. That's one of your first real East Coast, West Coast beefs. However, Tupac got connections to squashing that. Also, some would say, right? Help Tim Dog make it out of a West Coast club, right? Help Tim Dog make it out of a West Coast club. So although Tupac introduced Big to the West Coast and showed Big love and all that, you know what I mean? Now he's locked up and he's seeing Big as Big is rising to the top. It's a lot of this Brooklyn, East New York, East Coast, East Coast niggas, and Tupac ain't feeling that. Tupac ain't jacking that. He ain't feeling that. You know what I mean? Because he feel like that's the vision. That's the vision. And in his last interview, he said, I was trying to do it like One Nation. So why is Biggie always screaming where he from? Where he from? And he said when I started making songs like LA, and then niggas had a problem with it. He said, but they had no problem with when Brooklyn when Biggie say, where Brooklyn at every show he do. You see what I'm saying? He was talking about the regional bias that's heavy into the rap game, especially in the 90s. It's still there, and some of the guys, bled into it, passed it on to their children. I told you I was raised by one of them East Coast niggas that die hard hated Pac, and this is just how they was. But Big was coming in, and Big with his platform, and everybody getting so behind Big, because he from New York and he got the New York radio behind him, and you get a little bit of favoritism when you from NY. You just do, because it's like the ball in your court. It's like a ball player being from New York and being from Coney Island. Like Sebastian Telfair, you know what I'm saying? Sebastian Telfair is nice, come from the Marbury family and all that, but I can never forget as a kid, this is some ball player shit, right? We just building. My childhood mentor, Perry, he was out of Dallas, and he told me, he's like, yo, he said, your boy, because I was a big Sebastian Telfair fan. I'm here. He connected the Hove and all that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm rocking with the kid. He a fly nigga. I seen him on the cover with LeBron and all that. So I'm like, all right. And then my man say, oh, he was my coach at the time, my basketball coach. He like, hey, yo, your man's ain't all that at the McDonald's All-Star game. And I told Sebastian Telfair this too. Instagram, we built on it. You know what I'm saying? He felt the type of way. But I'm telling him what my man said. My man said, yo, so Sean Livingston was busting his ass. You know what I'm saying? And that was his first, like, yo, he ain't gonna be all this cracked up to be. Now, for example, if Sebastian Telfair might have been from North Carolina or South Carolina, you know what I'm saying, somewhere without the sexy big, you know what I'm saying, big tabloids and big lights like New York City and Brooklyn and Coney Island, you know what I'm saying, he might not have that momentum behind him. You see what I'm saying? So Biggie, although Biggie is legendary, he deserved all the praise. What I'm saying is the fact that he got that behind him too. Like, you know what I'm saying? New York niggas love Big, and it's just the home of Hot 97. All this shit is out of New York City. So that's their own. He one of their own. You know what I'm saying? So they looking at Big like, oh yeah, he rapping, and then Big get on, and then he's like, you know what I'm saying? He kind of got his own East Coast bias at times too. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Who's the wackest nigga? E40's whack. E40 about as West Coast as a nigga could get. You know what I'm saying? So he calling E40 whack, and if Biggie's just repping his shit. So this is when Tupac is doing all this West Coast, this is really just trolling. If you look at the Hit 'Em Up video, all these niggas got Tim's on. You know what I'm saying? And all these ain't no West Coast nigga in the video. Those is New Jersey niggas and New York niggas, and Pac is the only West Coast nigga to a degree. What I'm saying, he's half and half, to be fair. You know what I mean? But he's still a New York nigga. All them niggas got Tim's on screaming F the East Coast, and this is all just theatrical. Not saying they didn't mean it, but this is Oh, y'all gonna say East Coast, East Coast? We gonna say West Coast, West Coast. It's the same trolling element that Tupac took into banging on the mafioso era of hip hop. Why the Tupac hate the mafioso era of hip hop? Because this is what Biggie represented, right? Now Big is one of my favorite MCs ever, and probably my top MC when it comes to uh imagination and bringing the arts, the film side into the rap culture, right? He's not the first. Cool G Rap was originally the first one of the first mafioso rappers. Right? So Cool G Rap videos is full of mafioso Italian hip hop. You know what I'm saying? All that. That's all Cool G Rap. Even Nas and Cool G rapping Fast Life. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorite Nas verses ever. You know what I'm saying? Now this era of hip hop is coming through early '90s. But this is big. The Black Frank White. Frank White is King of New York. You know what I'm saying? King of New York. A film about dude getting out of prison and squashing all the New York competition. This what Big was on. Cause although niggas love Big for the most part, you know Big didn't rock with Big at time this Nas. Big at time this Wu-Tang. And he felt like Wu-Tang was biting his style. I feel like Wu-Tang was biting his style because when Wu-Tang first came out, you know, they was on some, you know, real grimy and karate shit. You know what I'm saying? And then when Big dropped and Big started getting into the Junior Mafia and all this is the fly gangster shit, the Italiano black mobster style shit, all of a sudden you get like the Purple Tape with Wu Gambino, right? That was because it was gonna be called Wu Gambino. Was Gambino the Gambino Mafia crime family? So big see this as these niggas biting my style. All at the same time, Nas still, you know what I'm saying, they also see Big as biting Nas style. So this leads into you know, kicking the door, waving the 4-4. You know what I'm saying? These niggas is hating on me. You know, y'all first album was on some cruddy shit. Ready to Die drop, y'all go home and study it. Now you want some money shit. Successful out the blue. He said y'all, you know, he was speaking on you know, the change from Raekwon and Ghost from being these cruddy, grimy type of rappers who, you know what I'm saying, it's all of a sudden now it's Gambino crime family element, right? Because this is what Nas and also too, because Nas started like that when he got with Cool G Rap. He became like Nas Escobar. You know what I'm saying? Nas Escobar. And he was locked in with, and then you had Jay-Z and Big. They was gonna do the commission, right? So this is all mafioso Italiano era of hip hop, and it's pushed by Big, and then Jay-Z, and then Nas get into it, right? And then later on, Jay-Z and Nas get into it, and Jay-Z say, "Nigga, you never sold aspirin. How you Escobar?" You know what I'm saying? Had to buy your chain back last time you got robbed. The nerve of this coward nigga. Oh my God. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be talking about Nas like that. But you know what I'm saying? Hov is my guy too. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now this whole shit is pissing Tupac off. Cause if you look at it, like, you gotta look at this element, right? So let's set the stage. Early 90s, John Gotti trial bigger than ever. When John Gotti trial is taking off, you like seeing a real live gangster, because the mob, for the most part, Italian mob was always hidden, right? Was hidden, and now you seeing it like bigger than ever, and that's like, oh, this a real mob, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So people gravitated towards that, right? Because, and then on top of that, you got Goodfellas, and let's take it to late 90s. I mean, early 90s, you got Goodfellas, you got the Scorsese joints, you got Casino, you know what I mean? You got all this shit. Scorsese is coming up with all this shit. You got all these classics from the 90s, man, and because it's like the mafia era really taking over. And some of them didn't stick, but for the most part, you got your Scorsese classics. Had Untouchables '87, The Untouchables, which was Tupac's favorite film. Uh, and you just had all these movies that was coming, and you had like say you had King of New York, I believe 91. Then you had New Jack City. You know what I'm saying? Where you had the Nino Brown and the going up against the Italians. You see what I'm saying? So, and this all play on the Yusuf Hawkins, uh, blacks versus Italians at this time, right? Jungle Fever, blacks, Italians. You had all these things going on at this time, but this Gotti trial is bigger than life, and then excuse pardon itself, Big is also bigger than life. So Tupac is feeling the type way. Even when you watch uh Two of America's Most Wanted, this is Tupac and Snoop trolling. They trolling. They trolling. They trolling Big in that whole mafioso era. They trolling that. You know what I'm saying? Even down to when Tupac do the scene with the Scarface scene. We after Scarface survived the shooting, Tony Montana survived the shooting at the club, and he pop up on Frank. You know what I'm saying? This is how Big set him up, like Frank set him up. You know what I'm saying? So this is Tupac all trolling along with the West Side. He's banging on that because if you look at the Outlaws, all the Outlaws are named after political refugee figures like Castro, right? And Fatal, Hussein. You know what I'm saying? Tupac Shakur. These are all these names. Gaddafi. So these names are named after political figures, right? Freedom fighters for the most part. Uh, Dictators, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then on the other end, you got the rise of um, you know, a mafioso era where everybody taking on the name of like the Italian gangster. You know what I'm saying? The Black Frank White and Caesar Leo. You know what I'm saying? And these is all things that's coming apart. Nas Escobar. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the Casino film cover and then you look at the Firm cover, you see Nas with the dice in his hand. Right? Street Dreams had Nas' car blow up like the scene in Casino. Foxy Brown represent Ginger. You see what I'm saying? This is all the era of these classic films that's dropping, and these young black rappers who from this era and from this region where these films are dropping, and they really taking a liking to them because the reason we always love our gangsters. Impoverished groups have always loved their gangsters, so because the gangster represents, especially the organized gangster represents rising above being left out of a capitalistic society and rising above that, taking it into your own hands, like on the part. What's the film called? The Departed, right? Jack Nicholson character say, what we did versus what the blacks did was we just took it, right? We didn't ask for it, we just took it, and you know what I'm saying now. That's why a lot of your black gangsters like films like that, right? Because they and they we not asking for nothing, we taking it. You know what I'm saying? So and we had plenty of black gangsters we could have represented. Frank Matthews, Frank Lucas, you know what I mean, and plenty of them you can name, and we got that element too. And I said, but so yeah, Tupac and you see Khalid Muhammad was also against this era, right? So they really against this era because they feel like this era is putting like Italians on this pedestal for the most part, and then on top of that, Tupac is saying these niggas ain't the real mob. We the mob. He representing because now Tupac rocking with the mob Pyru. So now he looking at them was like y'all. What he said, you know, you heard about my felonious capers. Now you want to live my life. Was that niggas who don't rhyme right? Seen too many movies. He said these niggas seen too many movies, right? Y'all niggas ain't the mob. We the real mob. This is Tupac making fun of the mafioso era of hip hop. Which he felt like y'all trying to do the Italian shit. Y'all doing movie shit. we doing this shit for real. And that was the difference, and that's still today to this day. That's still the difference in a lot of hip hop guys. Of not to say that the mafioso era rap was full of fake gangsters. We know a lot of these guys was really in the streets too, but they just happen to love film. Nas love film. Uh, Big love film. Big always rap about the black Alfred Hitchcock. You know what I mean? So this is just a bit just using the imaginative element of hip hop, to create wealth and to make money, while at the same time Tupac is looking at this as, nah, we want to use it. We want to use it based on real life shit. Speaking to real street niggas and using it to to talk to the people because they just on two different type of times. You know what I'm saying? But this is represents all that. So at this time too, you look at like films like Harlem Nights. You know what I'm saying? Harlem Nights represents the first black film where where the mafia outsmarted the Italian gangsters in the end. You know what I'm saying? The blacks outsmarted the Italian gangsters, right? So that's one element too, right? And another mishap is kind of like, many blacks was dressing in suits and all that fly shit even before the mafia really even, started really like really making moves in America like that. Blacks was already rocking suits and all that. You know what I'm saying? So that's a big misconception a lot of people have. Like, they think it came from that. Now the mafioso era was definitely imitating that, but the origin of that, is, we always was in fly shit like that. That's why when you see to the point now, we see like Ralph Lauren have the ad honoring HBCUs, and you see niggas decked out like they was in. You know what I'm saying? That was the old style. It was just the old style to stay dapper. And many would say that some of the Italians, when they got to America, they seen that and learned that from the blacks. You know what I'm saying? So that was a big misconception that was going on too, right? Now, Pour Out a Little Liquor by Tupac. This is early Pac, right? Early Pac. You even see him. That's even a gangster theme, gangster theme, Italian gangster theme video, right? You see with the Tommy gun and all that, right? Because Pac was also a film, even though he tried to make fun of the mafioso element era of hip hop, because he was at it with Big, and he just didn't like anything Big did and anything Hove did and anything Nas did. He want to crush all that. You know what I'm saying? Because he felt like it was divisive, and he hate to see New York niggas clicking up and on top. You know what I mean? So this is what he's on. But Tupac loved film too. Tupac was a fan of It Was Written. It was a fan that It Was Written. It Was Written is, people don't realize why It Was Written is so loved by some people. And the reason that It Was Written is so loved, some people say, well, it's a little more commercial than Illmatic. But the reason It Was Written is so loved compared to other parts of Nas, like real conscious stuff, is because It Was Written still represents, and it's the only album that represents like a mafioso Nas Escobar. Niggas like that, because this is what the whole shit we building on. Really, niggas really love this mafioso, imaginative, gangster rap. They don't care if it's real or not. You know what I'm saying? Tupac didn't get it. He never did get it. He liked the films, but he never did get it. It's kind of like, like Tupac was almost like a southern gangster rapper. A southern gangster rapper just don't get the art side of it. A lot of them, like Boosie just don't understand. Why would you diss me? If you diss me, nah, that's real beef. You see what I'm saying? They don't understand the art side of it. So that's kind of how Tupac was to a degree about it. You know what I'm saying? He just didn't get it. He wanted to, let's make music, to do this, to do that, to do that. And you know what I'm saying? And he was all about speaking to a crowd and being real in his music and saying something real, as far as like he didn't understand the guys that was like, he didn't even like Hammer early, because MC Hammer was just doing the other shit. He probably, what I'm saying, more than likely he didn't really like the digital underground shit for the most part. That's why he wanted to do his own thing. As soon as he could do his own thing, he went into, what I'm saying, Brenda's Got a Baby and Trapped, and it was always wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it broke his heart when he seen like, even though he admired Ice Cube, he felt like Ice Cube was biting his shit because with the West Side Connection, when West Side Connection joined forces, it was like Tupac seen that as like, Nick, remember Tupac is screaming West Side, West Side, West Side, just off the strip that Big screaming New York, New York, New York, New York. Right? So this is he's trolling on that. And then all of a sudden you start seeing Ice Cube with the West Side. All the West Ice Cube never I heard all three first Ice Cube albums and he never was on that West Side and all that shit. All of a sudden it became like this West Side shit. Then he did the West Side Connection, which was similar to Death Row. You had the Blood, you had the Crip, and then you had the Neutral nigga. You know what I'm saying? So this was why Tupac all of a sudden felt like Ice Cube biting my shit. You know what I'm saying? Ice Cube biting my shit, and he didn't like that. You know what I mean? He didn't really care for that because he felt like he knew that most of his West Coast shit was theatrical. You know what I'm saying? It was theatrical. Now, let's look. Now, many don't know Jay-Z and Big was gonna do the commission before he passed. And then, so that's one element of it. Also, we got to talk about Irv Gotti, right? The name Irv Gotti, John Gotti. See what I'm saying? Another Italian element into this shit. So you also had Murder Inc., which is also an Italian hit gangsters made of a hit squad called Murder Incorporated. Right, with all Italian hitmen was together, they was all called this group. They was all put the best Italian hitmen together, and they formed this group called, Murder Incorporated. And this group was gonna consist of Ja Rule, DMX, and Jay Z. Irv Gotti was putting them together, right? So this is another Italiano. You know what I'm saying? All this shit was gonna do this. So. And then when you look at the Irv Gotti films, even when Irv Gotti wasn't making necessarily mafioso style rap, you seen it in the music videos. The Lloyd video was a Bronx Tale theme, right? Southside by Lloyd was a Bronx Tale theme video, right? And then Ashanti Foolish was a Goodfellas theme video. You gotta go home. You gotta go home. You know what I'm saying? Chris got it, Irv got it. This was, even though they come from the Black Gangster, which was the Supreme Team, they also admired the Italian gangsters. And, this is another thing that we seen. This Italian element in rap and it's back now, right? I want to say that we got before we close it out, right? Rock Marciano, that guy right there, that legendary underground MC. For those that don't know, Rock Marciano, you know what I mean? He put on for kind of keeping that shit going on throughout the years of the underground, 2010 dropping shit. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, as you got your Griselda, which represents like a new wave of that. Right, because it kind of died in '99. It died, right? '99 it died whenever Sean came out with his first album. Sean's first album is a classic. Got the song "The Commission." Yeah. First off, we gotta say this verse. In the commission, you asked for permission to hit him. He ain't like me. He hit him while wifey was with him. You heard of us? Come on, Biggie. You know what I'm saying? And then you had Sean, The Commission. Never telling or snitching, rather swim with the fishing, mother could respect it, the commission. You know what I'm saying? So the hit, the whole Shine first album is nothing but Italiano hip hop mafioso style rap. Even if he's because he gave props to the Black Gangsters in there too. But you know what I'm saying? This is Italiano mafioso style rap. And Sean represented that. He was the last one that really represented that in the mainstream, right? When once Sean catch the case, that shit is in it. That shit is a rap, and you never really see it again in the mainstream. Rock Marciano held it down, 2010s for the underground, and then later on you get Griselda and you get, you started getting later on after that, you started getting like your Gibbs, and now you got Pusha T, because Clips always did it, but it wasn't that. I wouldn't necessarily call that mafioso style rap. But then now, because what they call today now is coke rap, they would have called that shit coke rap back then too. Right? They would have called that shit coke rap back then too. But now it's coke rap. I don't know if little white kids on Twitter, on hip hop Twitter, came up with it or whatever. But they call this coke rap, and they, a lot of them think that hip hop started in 2017 or 18 when Griselda took off. They don't realize the era that came before that. The other day I was talking about, I was saying the Jay-Z bar. I was saying, platinum should have went triple. And this young kid, he was like, hey yo, you quoting Stove God? He had never heard Mama Loves Me by Jay-Z. Right? The album dropped in 2001. He said he was 19. The nigga was probably born, and ain't no telling. But this is also the gap in hip hop too. As far as all hip hop is like studying, you have to go back and hit your books, hit the crates, dig in the crates. Now that we got all these streaming platforms that pay artists pennies, the least you can do if you paying $10 a month is go dig into all the shit that went into what made your favorite artist now the artist that he is, right? Stove God and all these guys who putting it down now are a branch off of the era before that. You know what I'm saying? The Jay-Z's, the early Nas's, the Escobar Nas, the Cormega, you know what I'm saying? These type of MCs, Fat Joe and Big Pun, you know what I'm saying? Also did the mafioso style. They was big Scarface fans. You know what I'm saying? The Cubans, you know what I'm saying? They had a Cuban in the crew. I believe I forget his name. Cuban Link. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this whole era, Alfredo, album's called Alfredo. That's a famous Italian dish, right? When you look at Godfather 1, when Mike catch the body in the restaurant, nigga eating Alfredo. You know what I'm saying? So this theme is big amongst hip hop heads in the lyrical side of drug dealer rap, cocaine rap. Right now, down south did have coke rap too, if you want to call it that. But it was the opposite of down up north hip hop when it was drug related, was very lyrical, and it was imaginative as far as like, you know what I'm saying, 99 keys, you had 99 keys, had to fall back. Not the nigga off his feet, but I crawled back. Had A1 credit, got more crack. From the first to the fifth, gave it all back. If I'm not a hustler, what you call that? This was before rap. This is all fact. That could be true by Hov. Because Hov got the history. Hov got a hustling history like that. Who knows? But what I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying? Niggas don't even care. Most niggas don't even care like that. They just like, nigga, that's her bar, and nigga, that's fire. And down south, niggas is gonna question that. 17.5, nigga, that's too high. Nigga, it's only 10 when we buy. Pimp C coming at Jeezy when he was getting 17.5. Nigga, Jeezy, I don't, nigga, them fake dope prices, what Pimp was saying. Pimp was mad at Jeezy because nigga 17.5, nigga, that's too high. It's only 10 when we buy. So he's like, what's going on? What's going on with the, you know what I mean? Now, so what I'm saying is the difference is in this coke rap verse, this coke rap, the down south coke rap, it missed that it don't have the mafioso element to it. It have a reality element to it. Did you do it or did you not do it? You know what I mean? I don't care if, you know what I'm saying, I want to know what you really did. And this, this has come from hip hop, not necessarily the origins that went into hip hop started down south for sure, but the art form fully developed up north, and most of them really had a great appreciation for the art side of hip hop, right? The words and the imaginative, the theatrical side of it, and all that, being creative. While down south, it was grimy in the sense of the poverty. Not saying up north from poverty, obviously they had poverty too, but it's like up north still had like labels. It was reachable. You know what I'm saying? It was reachable. Down south, in New Orleans and all these places. It was Houston. You had to create your own shit, and you know what I mean. You had to like really get it out the mud, and so when you was rapping about it, niggas wanted to know if you was really like that. Was you really living like that? You know what I mean? So a lot of times that's why Southern beef. I said it before. That's why Southern rap beef always go into some other shit because niggas don't really. A lot of the fans and sometimes even the rappers are in it just for the money. It ain't necessarily for the love or the art form, the art side of it. This is how I make my money, and these is real gangsters who really, you know what I'm saying. And that's why I met. You go from, what the Jay-Z rhyme I just said to Master P. You know what I'm saying? Ghetto dope. You know what I'm saying? And where he's just giving you the instructions on how to cook dope. Not saying that Ice Cube did it in Dope Man in the past, but this is just Mr. Ice Cream, man. It's just straight. It's simplistic, but it's patty cake, microwave, bake a cook a square. Goddamn, I'm paid. You know what I'm saying? And we'll say, well, I mean, was that really artistic? It don't really fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? The fans care about the validity of it, the realness of it, and the rawness of it, and if it's believable. You know what I mean? And this is why Southern niggas really liked Tupac. You know, like niggas like Pac because like, oh yeah, Pac living like that when he shot the cop and when he, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Pac thugging, and when they seen 50 Cent, like when 50 Cent got shot 9 times and they like, oh he really living like that. He got the vest on, so that's why 50 Cent said, even them country niggas said 50, we feeling you, man. Cause they could rock with the side of, okay, I might not fully love the music like that. However, I can rock with the nigga cause what he's saying is really, he really did that. You know what I'm saying? Versus like just a sense of like just loving them for the art. So that's what separated the mafioso era rap, and like I say, it's back now within the coke era rap. And you see sometimes the southern coke drug dealer rappers and up north drug dealer rappers are really combined every now and then, like Jeezy and Jay Z. Jeezy connected to Meech. You know what I'm saying? Hove connected to the Haven and all them, you know what I'm saying? DeHaven and you know what I'm saying, other guys who was hustling out of VA and all that. So you see this connection, niggas try to question Pusha T's validity sometimes now because they can't knock, you know what I'm saying? I never really care about none of that shit because I only care about the imaginative side of it, the creative side of it. I don't care how much work a nigga push for real. You know what I mean? I would rather you have did it at, you know what I'm saying, than just fully be out here CB4. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's an artist side of me that can have the appreciation to it of like a film, right? And that's one thing that made Big better than a lot of these niggas. Big could, you know what I'm saying? Peruvians try to do me in. I ain't paid them yet. Trying to push 700, they ain't made them yet. Rolexes, Frostbit, you know what I'm saying? On that note, family, I think I covered everything I needed to cover. We at 44 minutes, man. I hope you learned something new today. This mafioso era of hip hop is kind of back with the coke rap with a new name. You know what I mean? It's not back in the mainstream like it was, but yeah, this represents this era. West Side Gun and all these guys who really doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? And again, Tupac banged on this. Tupac banged on this shit. He felt like, niggas seen too many movies. Niggas ain't really living that. Y'all just watching movies, nigga. We the mob. You know what I'm saying? So how y'all feel about it, man? On that note, family, we are out. Peace.